Close Enemies. We're celebrating the new Close Enemies album, mini singles, new stuff coming. It is Trace. And man, Trace, tell us about this lineup. You talk about, telling your old buddy Tom Hamilton from Aerosmith, hey, we need a bass player. It's got your name written all over it. You can't say no. But man, everybody else in the band, you talk about your singer being the thespian and the multi talent. And I do remember that band, the Party on Hollywood
Yeah,
Records.
they
Those
were
guys,
huge.
some delicious vinyl, man. They had those mega hits with Tone Loc and
Yep.
Young MC, and next thing you know, they strike
They
some major
toured with
music.
Vanilla Ice for
Yeah,
gosh. I mean, that they were big time, man, big time.
yeah, no, I remember it well. So tell us the rest of the lineup. Trace
Okay.
Foster on guitar. You got Tom Hamilton on bass. Who else
Yes,
do we
sir.
got?
We have on drums, we have Tony, the legendary Tony
Oh,
Brown
how can
from
I forget? I got baby stories for days. What are we talking
dude,
about?
who doesn't? I mean, it's
Oh
like
shit. I
so
saw
so
the
we got
babies in Piper for $1 at the Paramount Theater. It was called the Rising Stars Series, KSW in Seattle. You know who was the front man of Piper?
uh I do. It wasn't Michael DeBars, was it? No, that was
Time's Up, Billy Squire.
Billy Squire. That's it.
Billy, they were
Right,
on
I knew
A&M
that.
Records,
I
two
knew that.
records.
Dang, man, I knew that. That's so cool.
Oh
I mean, I
yeah.
got Tony, he's played with everybody from the Babies to Rod Stewart and worked with
Oh yeah.
Elton, everybody, man. The guy, and he
He used
is,
to be right up the street. His studio was right here in Northridge, man, before he moved to Atlanta and
yeah,
all that.
yeah, he's the guy. And then of course Peter Stroud's our other guitar player. Has been playing with Sheryl Crow for 25 years and
Oh
played with
wow.
Don Henley and million sessions.
Jeez.
He it started because I was in this Southern rock band that I thought was an amazing band, right? We're doing really, really well. And then I realized I just it needs to be bigger. And I was like, I'm a pretty good songwriter. I think if I just put myself with the right people, I got one more chance at this. We're not kids anymore. I just want to do it one more time. So the first phone call was Peter. And there's a guy that I write with. His name is Gary Steer, and Gary was in a band called Buffalo Nickel in the '90s. They had a record out. That band had broken up, and two of the guys went on to form. Actually, three of the guys went on to form Blackberry Smoke, if you know who those guys are.
Sure.
Yeah, so we kind of all went our own sideways and up and down and whatever. And so Gary and I just kept writing songs, and then we started writing again about 2 years ago now, and it was just so good, Jay. It was just, and then I was like, this is really really good. It's like we've finally really figured it out.
Wow.
And so we called Peter, and I said, because if there's anybody that I've admired my whole life, and I told Peter the story. I said, I did Lilith Fair. I was working with the Indigo Girls, and
Yeah.
Cheryl was on after us, and I'd make them stay, before we left because I'd want to see Cheryl. I didn't want to see Cheryl. I wanted to see Peter every night because, again, it was inspiring. The guy was so good. And so he was our first phone call, and, I'll send him some music. And he was like, man, I want to be involved in this. And so, he was, and that's how we got Peter. And then, of course, you had Tony and Tom, and then it took us another year to find Chasen, and it was we had so many singers come in and out that we just knew were really, and we have some some name people that were really really good, and they just weren't. There was just something that wasn't quite right.
Hmm.
And then I remember Chasen sent a demo, and it was a friend of Tom's, a studio friend of Tom's that sent us the demo of this guy. Said you got to hear this guy Chasen Hampton. You're gonna love this guy. He said different kind of music. So he sent us the demo, and it was very Justin Timberlake, very pop. And I didn't know his background at this point. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I listened to about half the song, and I went, yeah, he's a good singer, but he's just not what we're looking for. And then we had this other guy, and then we tried on another guy, and then we were looking again. And I just remember coming home in my studio where I'm sitting right now, and I went, let me listen again to this guy again. I'm just trying to find anybody. And there was a middle section of this song, Jay, that was just this little 30-second snippet where it kind of got a little heavy, and then there was this other singer in there. And I was like, I don't know who that other singer is, but that's our guy, right? I knew it. So I was like, is it unethical to call this guy up that wants to be in your band and ask him who that other guy is?
Sure.
So after about, a
Like
couple days,
asking a guy, how can I get in touch with your girlfriend?
that's exactly right. Now that you're not dating your girlfriend, would you mind giving me your number? So I did, but I said I got nothing to lose because I really want to find out. So I called him and I said, "Hey man, dig what you do, but not trying to be a jerk." He said, "But who's that guy singing in the middle of like the bridge section?" He goes, "That's me. It's all me." And I remember hanging up the phone after setting. I was actually headed to Boston. He lives in Boston. I was headed to Boston like 2 days after that, to do some stuff with Tom, I think. And I said, "I want to meet you in person." And I remember calling up the guys and I said, "I think I found our singer." It didn't even, after just talking to him, I just said, "There's something special about this guy." And let me tell you, it's all special about that guy. He's so good. Oh, man. And he was very nervous about the Steven Tyler comparisons. And, you're going to get those. And, there's going to be the haters that you're not Steven Tyler. What are you doing up there with, but now that, the song Sound of a Train came out, people are like, "Oh my God, that singer's so amazing." And it's like, yeah, exactly. People have seen us live. It's all about the Jason's so great. It's like, I know, it makes me look good for sure.
Wow. Well, Sound of a Train. I know a new single about to drop.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the other songs on the album that we can look forward to cranking up.
Man, we've got a couple. Well, the next song is going to be called Inside Out. It's like a 3 minute and 4 second pop song. It's a little more Cheap Trick. You'll
Wow.
get the difference when you hear the song.
Power pop, huh?
Yeah, it's so good. It is absolutely that. There's about 3 songs on the record that sound like that. There's a song called Take a Pill that we really love. We actually just started playing it live because our first show that we did, we only wanted to play an hour. So we had to make some decisions of what songs we didn't want to play. And that song, for whatever reason, didn't make the hour cut. And then as we're going back out and doing our own thing, we're like, wait a minute, why are we not playing that now? We can play as long as we want. So we started playing it and we played it 3 times now. And everybody, it's like, that's my favorite song you guys play live is that one because it's such a great song. And it's about, being bipolar and you just take a pill and it makes it all go away. One of those kind of tongue-in-cheek type songs.
Yeah.
And we got some real classic rock guitar, great guitar songs. And we got, like I said, some what you call power pop stuff on there. We got an acoustic song on there, just a couple acoustic guitars and some vocals. And, it's just a very well-rounded record because everybody in this band are songwriters. You got, 5 guys and Gary. Gary's still with us writing, he doesn't tour with us, but he writes with us. And when you got that many inputs and no egos, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Nobody is saying, "Well, I don't like, this is not what I wrote." We would bring in a song and lay it on the altar and say, "This is the idea I have." At the end of the day, man, you're just like sitting back going, "Wow." We have a song called Rain, which is probably gonna be maybe our third single, third or fourth. And it's that. It was a rigid idea that I had that these guys all contributed amazing ideas to it. And it just came out it's better than one person could ever write. I mean, unless you're Paul McCartney or somebody. I always felt that, McCartney needed Lennon. I always felt that way. And everybody always, needs somebody to give
Yeah.
them
Even
that.
Elton needs Bernie.
You got to have that different, Jagger needed Richards. You kind of have somebody that gives you that different look at stuff, right? And I think that all of us were able to do that. And we tried everything. We always said that there isn't wrong ideas, just better ones. And if you have that attitude, you're gonna have a great record. Anyone that's heard the whole record has just been blown away. I mean, they really have because it's really good. If you like stuff that we like from the era that we're from,
Yeah.
you're gonna really enjoy this record.
Wow. What a treat. It's we talk about every chord, every note's already been played, but it's just the way you rearrange them, man, and bring it. And having such an arsenal of all these 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s
Yeah.
gems, in your vocabulary, in your DNA. Um, yeah, no, that's amazing. May the best song win. Doesn't matter who
Oh,
wrote it.
well, that song Rain, we were done with it. And Tony says, you know, hey, I'm gonna do something at home and send you, see what you think. And he did this 3 note piano thing. And that's what it is. And it's just like, what the, it's one of those moments where you go, you didn't even know it needed that, but as soon as you heard it, and I mean, so that's what I'm talking about. It's like you said, may the best song win, and it's all about, that's what we do. We're trying to create something that, I mean, does anybody care? I don't know. I mean, we care, you know,
Well,
and I
that's where
know,
it starts, man. You make music to please yourself
yeah,
and hope other like-minded people hear it and fall in love with it. And with so many bands,
yeah,
retired, like Aerosmith or a Kiss or Allman Brothers, or so many bands that are no longer with us. We have to take up the slack, and we have
and I,
to
and I, and I
get
hope
some new
people.
music out there.
I know. I mean, I don't. You know, People say, "Well, how do you describe it?" I say, "Well, I call it it's good." There's two kinds, and to me, there's two kinds of music. There's good and there's not so good, right?
That's it. Music that moves you, music that doesn't.
And you said something that really just kind of struck me. And you said, you're supposed to write music for yourself. And I'm like I said, I'm in the 80s and I'm living in Hollywood, and we're not at come to a point you weren't writing music for yourself. You were writing what the record company said. You need a ballad, you need this,
Right.
you need to be a great looking guy. You got to get your hair done at Long Haired Rocks in Long
Yeah.
Beach. Everything
The
was
formula,
the formula. And we wonder why that music died. It became so awful because it was so cookie cutter. You couldn't tell one band from the other at the end. You really
Yeah.
couldn't. It was just,
Yeah. It needed a wash and rinse, man. And
yeah, it really did. And then
it's
you get
sad.
guys, grungy guys up there a little farther north, and they basically cleaned house. It was
Well, it was
like,
crazy. I was living in Seattle, 76
oh
degrees,
my
where I
God,
moved
really?
moved down. I helped Hart, launch Dreamboat Annie and Little Queen and all that. And
Oh,
and and then I see in the late 80s this thing going on in Seattle, and now you got bands from LA not washing their hair, looking in the thrift shops for flannel shirts, and driving up the 5 freeway to try and get
so,
signed in the
so crazy.
206 area code.
So crazy, right? I know. And it was and I remember because I mean to me Seattle was Queens, right, man. Jeff Tate, that was that
Oh yeah,
was
it was
that's
Jimi
that was our
Hendrix. It was all
oh
of it.
yeah, that's that. So it's not like it was just grunge music come out of there. I mean, it's like this, it's had a great history of, great bands, and it's but it's just because I mean, in all honesty, I despised grunge music because it basically put me out of work. It was like, but when you look back now, you just got to kind of giggle and go, "Wow, man, that should
Yeah,
have probably
even
happened."
Eddie Vedder was from San Diego. It
Yeah, I
was
remember he was a runner at a gig. He was from the sports arena. He was a runner there.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we've all got stories of in and out, and that's
Well,
kind of what we do to
well,
get where
that's
we're at now.
amazing, and I know you get a lot of attention because you got the Aerosmith bass player standing there, and people are like, "What?" Haven't seen that guy in a while, and no more touring with Joe Perry and Steven Tyler at the
Yeah.
moment. So, and then Tony Brock, super underrated, man. That guy, like I say, go ask Rod Stewart, go ask, John Waite, and all these guys who's the
I knew,
greatest.
I knew as soon as Tom played with him. Peter and I were both like, when these two get together, they call each other the chain gangs. They both have like the same chain, which is really cute. We're like, you guys kind of got the same
Okay.
chain. Tony's like, because we're the chain gang. So, and it's Tony. I mean, dude, he's 71 years old. And I'm
Yeah.
like, so how many shows a week can you do? And he said, seven. He goes, unless you want to do matinees, then it's 14. And I'm laughing to myself, going, okay, whatever. That guy wore me out in rehearsals. I mean, I'm like, I'm ready to stop. He's like, we should run it again. Gosh, he's so he's so made. He's taking such great care of himself, man.
Yeah.
He's just, he's ready to go another 10 more years,
Oh yeah. He sat in this very office right here. He and Wally Stocker when they
Oh
when they
yeah,
brought the
Wally.
babies back,
Oh
man.
yeah, Wally stopped playing. I was it last year, a couple years ago, whatever.
Yeah,
And
I was like, wow.
it comes to
I
a
know
point
I know
where,
physically is really the only
yeah.
reason because retire from what? Having fun and jamming with friends? I mean,
Remember,
it's
remember
physically.
McCartney when they asked Paul McCartney if he ever thought about retirement, and his response was, "I'd have to have a job to retire from, wouldn't I?"
Right.
Totally makes sense. I mean, this isn't a job; it's work. I mean,
No.
it's hard work, man. I mean,
No, if you love what you do it to the day you take your last breath.
yeah, my daughter's in college. She's finishing her master's degree, and she's like, I don't like working right now. I said, because it's a job. There's a difference between a job and a career. Career is something that you want to do. you know, so every day you wake up and you're excited about it, you know.
Oh yeah, you can't wait to get to it. I cringe when I hear friends talking about, oh, it's Monday. Monday's coming up. Monday, it's like, man, every day's a Friday, in
Dude, I
our
exactly. I
world.
don't even know what day it is half the time. Like, what's the date today? I don't even know.
I gotta,
'Cause,
I
like you
gotta figure
said,
out
if
what
you
month it is, man. It's just every day's an adventure, and that's
I
incredible.
love it.
Close enemies. And what do we call the album? What's the album
I
title?
think it's going to be self-titled. So what we're going to do is let me kind of give you the rundown here. Is we're going to release like every 6 weeks we're releasing a single because I don't know if you realize this. I'm sure you do.
Sure.
The new age that we're in, you do not release it all at one time because people's attention span is so fast that you release a record and, you know, 1 week later it's gone. So
Right.
everybody seems to, you release a single, you work the single. It's doing really well, by the way. I mean, it's getting played all over the world. We're really excited about
Mhm.
it. Radio stations are picking it up, which is amazing to us as well. And the record company, it's distributed through Virgin. So we got some, real folks behind us that know what they're doing. So they're working it hard. And then we'll release the next one and then we'll do the same thing. We're probably going to do 4 singles. And then in the fall, I think we're going to start a full-blown tour in the fall.
Okay.
We'll do one-offs and, a couple here and there, but we're going to wait till we get enough material out and we've had time to really work it and to show exactly what we're all about. And then we'll
Yep.
probably team up with, somebody else of like,
Sure. Double
of like,
Barrel Bill.
and then do theaters or whatever we can do and then who knows, the cruises or the festivals or whatever we can do. And
Yep.
and I'm telling you, we've done 8 shows, and this is definitely not egotistical or bragging of any kind. We've never had a bad review at all. Everyone just seemed to everybody's just so like, everything we've read is it's like it's great, great songs, great band, great everything. And it's just like, so that's what's driving us right now. It really is. It's keeping us chugging along for sure.
Wow. Well, we're going to be peeled to all the websites and notice, and love to see you get out here in your hallowed halls of California and
Oh yeah, buddy.
West Coast, and you know, maybe the Roxy Theater or one of these great clubs. Man, I can't believe they haven't rebuilt the House of Blues. They had it there on Sunset.
So it's
Live
it's
Nation tore that down with all
yeah,
the
it's gone, right?
complaints.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I drove
gone.
by there one
But
day.
speaking of La Brea and Sunset, where that Ross is,
Yep.
across Kitty Corner from
Oh
the
yeah.
warehouse, I always thought they should buy that lot, tear that shit down, build a House of Blues right there, Sunset and La Brea, literally
Done.
next door to the old A&M lot. That's
I
freaking
can't
cool.
imagine how much money that real estate is, though. And let's be honest, man, it's not what it
Well, they
used to.
obviously sold the real estate up on Sunset, which was worth more. The further
Yeah.
you
Oh,
go up on
yeah. Of course.
Sunset, the costs more. So they
Yeah.
they got a pretty penny for that lot. It's some nondescript $1 billion condo store, uh, whatever. I haven't
So,
slowed down driving by it now.
so like the Coconut Teaser and FM station, those places all long gone now.
They're long gone.
Yeah, that's too
You
bad.
know, I moved. I spent the last couple of years at the Starwood right there at
Oh yeah. Oh my
Santa
God.
Monica.
See, I
You know,
missed that. That was, I think you said you got there in 80.
got there in '80.
I got there in
Matter,
81. I
matter of
think it was,
fact, I had tickets. I was going to see some cool bands, and I was watching a little Monday Night Football before I walked down. I was walking distance to Starwood,
yeah,
and
man.
Howard Cosell comes on and
I know exactly what you're
announced
going to
that
say.
John Lennon.
I was sitting watching the TV too. Isn't
I
that
was
amazing how you know?
Yeah, and I was like, I got to get out. I can't sit here. That I can't. And the next day, KLOS, the station, had a big candlelight vigil at the Twin Towers in Century City. There were thousands of Beatles fans cranking the music with candles, just in disbelief.
Did,
That
did you ever see the documentary about the whole Howard Cosell John Lennon thing?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, they literally nobody else wanted to say it. Was it Frank Gifford or whatever? Was like, I'm not telling America that John Lennon's dead. How would you do it? And not because they thought he was good. They weren't going to do it.
Right.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like one of those things. I guess you remember that, where you were, you
Yeah.
know, 9/11. You remember these things that you just will never
I mean, that was
forget.
before the internet. Unless you were watching TV, you would have heard about it hours later, or read it in a newspaper or
Do you
heard it on the
remember
radio.
the pause that he did though? He said, John Lennon, the Beatles was shot and killed. There was like, I'm telling you, there was that pause where you're like, oh,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
No, it
was,
was insane. But yeah, the landscape has definitely changed. Hollywood Palladium is still there. Steven Tyler just did his big,
yeah,
Grammy night. They still have shows. The Fonda Theater, which is right up there at Hollywood and Gower.
yeah,
It's
that's up the street. Yep,
just kitty corner, just north and east.
yep.
It's a block away from Amoeba Records right there now. And all
New Records and
everybody's
stuff.
getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame now that's music. They're
Yep.
all in front of Amoeba. So that
Oh,
whole area there is all all those great stars. But yeah, the Fonda
what-
Theater holds a couple thousand.
yeah.
Packed out.
I saw Jane's Addiction there back in the day, if I
Oh
remember
wow.
correctly. Yeah.
I was there when Jane's Addiction got their star on the Boulevard, which was Hollywood
Wow,
and
there you go.
Wilcox. And
Wow.
John Dinsmore from the Doors was there and said something. And the late, great Taylor Hawkins came up and helped induct Jane's Addiction, Stephen Perkins and Dave Navarro and the whole crew, Perry
I
Farrell,
remember when they did the Guitar Center, did the
the Rock
Randy
Walk.
Rhoads thing, and
Yeah.
and they spelled his name wrong. I was
Can you
so mad.
believe it?
Flat.
You,
Yeah,
you, you watch the video and they unveil it. And you're just watching the faces of the family recognize like these people know what spell check is. I mean,
it's
you're
so
putting it in stone
what a kick
and
in
you
the
don't even check
nuts.
the spelling.
Nope, what a kick in the nuts. It's like, yeah, we're here and so honored to be paying tribute to one
Everybody
of the
was there.
great.
Ozzy and Lemmy.
Oh,
I
dude,
think
I
they stand
know
behind him. Stevie
everybody
May,
was there. I think
everybody was
Lemmy
there.
was there. I mean,
And and they're just like, what? Yeah,
yeah,
I wish somebody could have been fired for that, but I know Dave Wiederman
yeah,
probably,
Dave, yeah.
yeah, he probably took it on the chin. But
I love Dave, by the way. He's a really good dude.
yeah, yeah, they let him go, man. I go by that
Yep.
rock walk occasionally, but certainly anytime somebody passes, they got the big bouquet and all the flowers out there. And we've been honoring Edward Van Halen at his childhood home in there in Burbank.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry, in
yeah.
Pasadena.
Pasadena, yeah.
The fire almost came down and got their high school, Pasadena High School, which was just like 10 blocks away from them.
It's pretty far away from you, right?
Well,
Where
not
you
too bad. It's only about 8 exits on the freeway here, so that's not bad. It's about 12 miles, but yeah, no. Terry Kilgore, who was one of Edward's childhood friends and guitar mentors, he lost his house and his studio, and a number of people we know in the music business lived there. That fire just came down. The winds is what moved faster than any fire truck or water drop could.
dude,
Matter of
I'm
fact,
telling you, man,
the first night they couldn't even fly water drops because it was 100-mile-an-hour winds.
if you think that you think you've got it all under control, Mother Nature has other plans. There ain't a dang thing you can do about it.
Yeah, you could imagine how many music and entertainment people were affected between the Palisades and Pasadena, Altadena.
I
It's
remember the Northridge quake. I'm sure you do too.
oh yeah,
I remember waking up, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was, and I was laying on the other side of where I'd started the night. I'm laying
yeah,
on the other side of the floor going, what the heck? And all the noise and the sirens and the alarms and the water, because our apartment was like cracked in half and there's water going everywhere. It was like you have no idea. And then it's just one of those things where you go, there's nothing you can do. And just thankful that you're still alive.
yeah. I was there for the LA riots. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
me
remember.
too.
Oh, were you? I was at the
Yeah.
Country Music Awards at the Universal Amphitheater.
I just
And
got home.
I'm dating like the secretary of the president, Joe Smith,
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
sit in the
That's
front row. Garth Brooks
yep.
cleans up. We go down just below that. They had the Chinese restaurant right on the hill, right
Yeah.
below the
Oh yeah.
amphitheater, and we're in there, and everybody's clicking champagne and celebrating Garth's wins, album of the year, artist of the year, all that. And somebody clicks the TV and go to the news. LA's on fire. It was literally
Yep.
the night of the riots breaking out.
Yep. I was there. I had just gotten home like 2 days before that from the road, a leg on the road. And
Uh-huh.
so I was there for that. I was there for the OJ Simpson, all that
Oh
problems that
yeah,
went
the
down.
Bronco.
Yeah, well, no, I was there for the verdict and all that nonsense that went on after that. It was
Yeah.
like it seemed like I would come home and then all that stuff would, just that's one of the reasons I got out of there. It's like I just can't deal with this anymore.
Well, our special guest, the one and only Trace Foster. Go get and follow Close Enemies, man. Can't wait. Oh,
Hey, just so you
Trace.
know, Close Enemies the band at yeah, closeenemiestheband.com. There you go. That's our website. You guys can pretty much find anything you want on there. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, Future Farmers of America, all those
There you
websites.
go. And until we speak again, man, Keys, please rock forever.
You got it, my friend. Can't wait to come out there and have you come out and hang out with us.